If you're new to the channel, then you don't know that I love not only Star Wars, but professional sports and college sports. So today I am sporting the Nuggets because my team is playing game one of the NBA of the National Basketball Association tonight, which means I am going to head to the game in about 2 hours. But before I do that, we are going to take a look at this Iron Studios Star Wars quarter scale diorama, which is absolutely amazing. Now, what do Star Wars and NBA basketball have to do with each other? Not a damn thing. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey, thank you for tuning into the Extreme channel. My name is Mr. X, and today we're reviewing a quarter scale or 1/4 scale Star Wars diorama with none other than Luke Skywalker, Baby Grogu, and R2D2. Arguably some of the best characters from the entire Star Wars franchise. Now, this is a very special piece to me because I got out of Star Wars collecting, actually. I sold most of my Star Wars pieces. Here's an old video on them. Other than this piece right here, I still currently only own two. A life-size Han Solo in carbonite. I pre-drink before games. But also this giant custom Wampa statue. This is quarter scale as well. So while this won't really go with that, I had the opportunity from Iron Studios to get this on the table, and I could not resist. Because for the longest time as a Star Wars collector, even before I got rid of all my other pieces, I always wanted an R2 piece and a Luke Skywalker piece, but I never found one I really liked. Now keep in mind, this is from The Mandalorian. I have a few other pieces from The Mandalorian right here. This Iron Studios Baby Yoda actually belongs to my daughter, and I do have a life-size Mandalorian helmet that you saw in that thumbnail right there. So I've always wanted a really kick-ass Luke Skywalker quarter scale, but I've never found one I loved. I think XM Studios made a decent one of him on Planet Hoth, but I wanted him as a Jedi. Now, while this isn't officially Mark Hamill, it's a CGI of the new actor, I can't remember his name, that looks just like him. To me, it's probably one of the best ones out there, and we're going to talk about that today in the Extreme Review. But I'm a huge fan of the original Star Wars films. I think that the prequels and the sequels that came out after that were mildly entertaining. Nothing horrible, nothing great. Mandalorian definitely had some of those great moments again, and one of them was when the first time we ever saw Luke Skywalker, I think it was at the end of Season 1 or Season 2, I can't quite remember. We're actually going through Season 3 right now, which I've heard some mixed reviews on. We're only 2 or 3 episodes in. It takes my family a long time to actually watch a series because we have so much other stuff going on. But again, like I said, some of the best characters of Star Wars, R2, Luke Skywalker for sure, and the recent, in the last few years, Baby Grogu. My daughter is a huge fan of Baby Grogu or Baby Yoda. Actually, check out this video right here where we look at my kids' collectibles, and you'll see a ton of Baby Yoda paraphernalia. Paraphernalia almost sounds like it's bad. But anyway, enough of all that. Let's dive into this Iron Studios quarter scale diorama, and it has some pretty damn cool features. Starting with concept. So let's take a look at this guy. Now, starting at the base here, this is actually from Moff Gideon's spaceship at the end, I think it was of Season 2, where we first saw Luke Skywalker come and rescue Baby Grogu. One of the coolest scenes we've seen in a long time since the ending of Rogue One. He came in and absolutely used the Jedi Force and kicked ass. Now, he is sitting there with his faithful companion, R2D2, and I absolutely love this R2. We're going to talk more about that later, some cool features that it has, but he is standing there museum pose. So he's not in the middle of a dynamic action by any means, and he is holding Baby Grogu or Baby Yoda. But he has this Jedi ceremonial robes on, which is pretty cool. You can see his lightsaber. You'll see that in close-up video. And he is very stoic. He's just out there. And like I said, what I really like about this is the portrait is a mix of Mark Hamill, the actor they used to insinuate him, and kind of the AI version of them mixed together. I really wish it would have been more of a Mark Hamill, in my opinion, even though this probably looks closer to what we saw on screen of Mandalorian with Disney+. So I think the concept is cool. I think it is a 3 out of 5. While this exact scene wasn't from Mandalorian, it's still pretty cool. And as a reminder, 3 out of 5 on the channel is a good score. It means you get what you pay for. Design has some very cool features. While, first of all, what you see is what you get. There's no other additional display options. There are some cool hidden things, and we'll talk about those after the unboxing and assembly. One 35-pound box, an outer shipper, and an art box. Iron Studios uses these straps in white foam, and it was just one layer with the different pieces on the inside. Everything packed very well for no breakages in the box. So, 3 characters. It is 15.5 inches wide. A little less than 12 inches deep. For exact dimensions, go to Iron Studios' website. There's actually a link in the description below where you can buy this. And just under 21 inches tall. Now with that, I did have one problem. The lightsaber, the hilt, where it actually hooks onto his belt, I was a little too rough with it and I broke it. So unfortunately, I used a twist tie to make it hanging, and you can't tell. Here are actually the broken pieces. Again, it was user error. It does have a pretty badass light up feature. Check this out right here. Not only does it have a light up feature, but it has a sound feature. So 2 different functions of R2. So screaming function, which we remember very well from the original Star Wars movies, and the classic R2D2. And him communicating with 3PO. I guess that's 3, not 2. Now what's interesting with this is his cloak is fully sculpted, which means it's not mixed media, it's not actual fabric, and it fit on really well. You saw that during the assembly, and it looks really good. I'm glad they went with sculpted instead of fabric. I think it really adds another level to the statue. But overall design, I think very good. A little bit of a negative on the lightsaber hilt, even though this was my fault. So I still think it's a 4 out of 5. Pretty cool, 3 different characters in one, doesn't take up too much space. Awesome light up and sound feature for sure. Paint and sculpt looks really good. One of the things we're going to talk about is the likeness on Luke. But like I said, you have the new actor they tried to use. You have Mark Hamill. You have the AI version. And it's kind of a combination of all of those. That is really my only issue. But it's not really an issue because technically it's pretty decently screen accurate. Check out what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to look at the likeness of his face first. And for some reason, the light is really reflecting off this. But here you have Moff Gideon's ship. Looks good. Looks like a lot of Star Wars bases I've seen in the past. Nothing fancy to it. I don't think there needs to be. But it's a mix of black and gray together. R2 looks great. I love the weathering on him. Not super old. Still has a little bit of a shiny dome there. And all the intricacies of R2. I've never seen an R2 this size. And I think it's a perfect size to actually show every part of him. I would assume that it's correct as far as likeness, and I know likeness in a robot is kind of strange. Otherwise, Star Wars would not have approved the licensing. But lots of detail, the mechanics, the circuitry, classic green eye. For Grogu. Grogu seems pretty easy to do in a statue form. I've never seen a Grogu that didn't look good, and this is not an exception. He looks so cute. Little hair, the inside of the ears very pink. I like his coat, kind of all swaddled together. It is fully sculpted. You see Luke's robot hand holding on to him. As you saw in the assembly, that's actually one piece, but they did a really nice job, especially making it look like fabric clothing. And I can say the same about Luke's cloak here. I love that this is sculpted. It looks so good. It's falling just the way it should. There's this small textured pattern all throughout it. Again, the lighting's playing really weird with it. The hood in the back, true Jedi form. And he has his Jedi outfit below. Tall, shiny black boots, few creases in them. And then the ceremonial Jedi kind of robes or shirt with the belt. And you see his lightsaber right there. Again, I had to custom get it in there. I always forget how big the hilt is on a lightsaber. But he looks really good. Flows well. The hair looks good. Could have been a little bit better. Very doll-like. And part of his face looks very doll-like too. And again, I think that's because they were trying to grab the likeness. Maybe the eyes are a little bit too big. Very beady-eyed, but that's what he was like when he showed up in the final scene. I like how he's almost expressionless, as a Jedi should be. I mean, not emotionless, but still very determined. Almost too much highlights, like, again, the light's playing really, really weird looks on it. Almost too much highlights like he's wearing makeup, but again, that's what he looked like when he showed up to save baby Grogu and the Mandalorian. So really some good things about this, and I love that it gives 3 characters I love. Arguably of the Star Wars franchise, these 3 are definitely in the top 10. Well done. That lighting is just driving me nuts. There's probably a better, this is kind of what it looks like in person. The eyes look great though. They are decals, but still very beady-eyed. And I like the soft touch in his skin tone. Let's start with the paint. I love R2. I think he's a little dirtier than he should be. This is like, to me, what he should look like in Return of the Jedi. But I still think that's okay, like we talked about. I think the paint is really solid, really clean. I think it's a strong 4 out of 5. Easy. Paint and sculpt. I love Grogu. I love R2. I love Luke, every part of him. His head, like I said, even though it's weird to me because it's not traditional Mark Hamill, I think the sculpt is also a 4 out of 5. They did a really, really nice job. However, the value of this is hard for me to interpret for multiple reasons. Number one, this is an expensive quarter scale piece. It is $1,300 if you order it through Iron Studios. A link for that is in the description below. You can order through Sideshow, but it's $50 more. And I don't know how many they made. It doesn't say on the bottom. It doesn't say on the websites. This is kind of like their Darth Vader piece that I actually reviewed right here. Best quarter scale Darth Vader on the market by far. Iron Studios is really good with their Star Wars pieces. So it's hard for me to judge the value on this. You get 3 characters, although R2 and Grogu are kind of small. So it's really like 2 characters for $1,300. Not a bad price for quarter scale pieces at all. So I'm going to forego the value score of this right here. I really don't know what it would be because I don't know the edition size or how many they made. However, does this have the X factor? Is this a 5 out of 5 statue? It's not. However, it's pretty damn cool. Of all the Luke Skywalker statues I've ever looked at, this is one of my favorites, with one exception. I wish his portrait was more Mark Hamill. If it was, this would definitely be my favorite. I love that it has Baby Grogu, or Baby Yoda, one of the best characters in the Star Wars franchise. R2, another one of the best characters in the Star Wars franchise. It doesn't take up a ton of room. And if you're collecting a Mandalorian line, this is an absolute must-have, in my opinion. So I think it's a 4 out of 5 statue overall. It is pretty cool. I think Iron Studios really went above and beyond. Now, the problem with this is I've had a few different Baby Yoda statues. So it would look weird if you had so many different dioramas with Baby Yoda. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. Throw that down in the comments below. What do you think of this in regards to other Luke Skywalker statues? Better, worse, the same? I love to read your comments. I love to interact with you guys, and you could win a statue with that comment. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Thank you, Iron Studios, for sending this to me. Thank you to you guys more for watching. I really appreciate it. If you could reciprocate that by hitting the like button, cheering for the Nuggets. They're going to freaking destroy Minnesota. I actually lived in Minnesota, so I can say that. But I really appreciate you guys. Sub if you like stuff like this. I got to go get to the game. Take care.